Today's dedication is for Zahn, who gave me a very generous 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon. Couple of 5-colour commanders, the Prismatic Bridge versus Joda. Dovin's Veto could slow our opponent down, but we want to be seeing some ramp really, so try and mulligan into 2 pieces of ramp is good. So let's throw away the Meteor Golem there. We're both just getting down a couple of tri-lands, draw into Ruinous Ultimatum. So luckily we can ramp here. We'll go with the namesake, Rampant Growth. Alright, and our opponent just cracking a Terramorphic Expanse, holding up Jeskai mana. And we get into another forest, which means we can go for Skyshroud Claim into Nature's Law. Both of the lands come in untapped with these pieces of ramp. So by the end of our turn 3, we're at 3, 6 and 7 mana. And our opponent not holding up any blue mana, going for Rising of the Day, which will give his creatures haste. Alright, and that is a Luminate Primordial, so going for our commander and see what we can get straight off the top. Alright, so our opponent just passing with 3 mana held up, including blue mana. Do we cast on these things? No, you just put it into play, and we have revealed an Ugin the Ineffable, about to draw a card as well. Okay, that's a 4 mana duplicate that we'll be able to cast. Should be able to get rid of our opponent's creature quite nicely, our opponent's commander. Alright, so that was a Fateful Absence onto the Ugin in response to the tick up, which is a good reason to go for the loyalty ability on that straight away, although they had the chance to blow that up before we ticked up on it. Anyway, the Spirit token has revealed a Field of the Dead under that. Might as well go for the Vraska, and we'll make another token with this Planeswalker. Okay, and our opponent decided to scoop it up there. Doesn't feel as though we can keep up. We did get a lot of ramp in the early game. Prismatic Bridge versus Kalia, and no ramp there whatsoever, so unlike the last game we will have to mulligan there. And yeah, going down 2 cards should be fine. Just 1 piece of ramp we want to see, that is better. We don't really mind emptying our hand as much. Yeah, get rid of the Chromatic Lantern, should be fine. And we are on the draw anyway, yeah. We don't mind emptying our hand so much because oftentimes the things we pitch back will be really expensive and we want to cheat them out with a Seeker anyway. That is getting out the Kalia a turn sooner. The Sol Ring, if they go into a rock here, might be able to get it out next turn, but fortunately not. Right, so let's go for the Tropical Island. We need a forest in play in order to play the Utopia Sprawl. And we'll just make black mana with that, either black or white, judging by the cards that are in our hand here. Seeing a Swiftfoot Boots from our opponent now, still missing the white mana over here, but if he can make that next turn we'll be seeing a Kalia with haste. And there is an Urborg, can fix the black mana. Yeah, we'll just go for the World Tree because it comes in tapped. Can't go for the Skyshroud Claim, unfortunately, so giving our opponent another turn. Alright, no white mana for our opponent, that is an Ancient Tomb instead. Alright, but takes him into a Boros Signet. So that means that Kalia can still come down with the Swiftfoot Boots, 3 cards in hand. So if we can deal with whatever he cheats in, then we should be able to slow Kalia down quite nicely, unless got multiple good things in hand. It is Gisela, we'll have to be pretty quick. We go down to 26 straight away, and that's 4 commander damage as well. And now we draw into an Offer You Can't Refuse. So yeah, can just make it Volcanic Island. Alright, so just getting some tap lands, doesn't really matter which ones because we've got the World Tree, which will tap for all the colours next turn. Likely gonna die to all this damage next turn anyway. Alright, hard casting, a Burning Rune Demon, so yeah, just being totally outpaced by the fast mana here, unfortunately. They do get a tutor and they'll be able to, I don't know, maybe get down some kind of double striker or something like that. They'll probably have enough damage if they can swing in straight away here, which, yeah, they've got 11 and 13 damage here is doubled up to 26, so they don't even need to cheat anything in with Kalia. So, yeah, let's just, are we choosing which one to go in hand? Yeah, just give him the Master of Cruelties. Not putting the Swiftfoot Boots on the Burning Rune Demon, but cheating in the Master of Cruelties. So first strike damage dealt here first with the Master of Cruelties, knocks our life total down to 1, and then these 2 hit us for a massive amount of damage, and that takes us out, going down to Kalia. Try another one. Up against another 5-colour commander now, Tom Bombadil, and if we top deck into a land there it won't be half bad, but we probably won't, so let's mulligan. Okay, and get into no ramp whatsoever. And again into no ramp whatsoever. Alright, and then a one lander with some ramp. Mulligan again. Alright, and finally get into something half decent. But I don't know how many of these cards we'll actually get to keep. Have to shove 4 back. So we are on the draw, but we're starting with 3 cards in hand. Not seeing a mana dork on turn 1, thankfully. Getting to Greater Auramancy, which we can cast on turn 2. And then it's Frodo, Sauron's Bane. So have to be wary of ring bearers and the like, we could lose to that. And there's the 3rd mana that we needed for next turn. So we're going to curve out decently, we just need to hope that our opponent can't interfere with us too much. The Greater Auramancy should make that more difficult, but 5 colour player can play counter magic. Azusa Lost But Seeking allows for some more landfall. Our opponent goes down to 2 cards in hand, has 3 of the colours set up now. And blue mana could represent a negate or something. Alright, the World Tree drawing into, throw down the Mana Confluence in for a Cultivate. And the first saga is War of the Last Alliance, so searching for a legendary creature and putting it into hand. And it is Maraleng going for, so yeah, searching the library for a card and shuffling at the beginning of the turn, but we can't draw. Yeah, I don't think we necessarily mind that as long as we can keep our commander in play. That is a 3 visits, which is a bit too late, so yeah, we'll only have 4 mana left if we go for that. Let's just play the commander. And that does get down through the blue mana, so no Delvin's Veto or anything. So going to chapter 2 with that, we'll get to tutor for another legend. And this time it is Smeagol our opponent aims for. No black mana for our opponent to get down the Marilyn yet though. We do see Bilbo's Ring enter play. And they have levelled up the Frodo now, so that becomes a 2-3 with lifelink. Alright, and only getting into a Sakura Tribelder unfortunately. Can use it as a chump blocker at least. So we just continue to set up here. World Tree means the Mana Confluence doesn't have to lose us life anymore. Go for the 3 visits to get a tap land down. And we'll just tap out into the Lightning Greaves. Don't think it really matters. Alright, so our opponent's creatures are going to gain double strike and the ring tempts them, so they go to level 1 on the ring. We'll still be able to block with the Sakura Tribelder because Frodo has 2 power now compared to our 1. Alright, but Bilbo's Ring going onto there. So with this, I don't think it can be blocked. Yeah, it has hexproof, can't be blocked during their turn, and then they lose a life and draw when it swings in. 2 cards in our opponent's hand, and swinging in with the Azusa as well. So might as well just block and sacrifice with the Azusa. Alright, so try again with the Prismatic Bridge. I think it might be a mistake having Sakura Tribelder in here. I don't want to be slamming into things like that. I want to hit every single time with the Prismatic Bridge. 1v1, just 1 turn can make all the difference. Not going to bother bluffing, just throw out the land and go for the Coma. Now the ring is still on level 1, so I don't think we need to worry about losing to that. Now at the beginning of our opponent's turn, Coma, or at the beginning of everyone's turn, Coma is going to make a 3-3, which still won't be able to block the Frodo. They're still quite a ways away from getting the triple black on the Frodo at least, so can't quite lose to that yet, and they also need to level up the ring. Smeagol, helpful guide, entering play. So if they want to swing in with the Azusa, we're not going to kill it with the Coma's Coil and end up triggering the Smeagol. Instead, just going in with the Bilbo's Ring and Frodo. That draws them a card, loses them a life, and obviously we can't block here. Okay, so we get another turn. See what we can do here. Coma making another Coma's Coil. And we get into more token production in Beladros with a Bloom. Can't make use of the extra mana, unfortunately. See what we draw into. No, just another land. So Polluted Delta into play. Let's go for the Lightning Greaves over to Beladros. And does this trigger at the... yeah, at your end step, so not bothered about things dying on our turn. Let's just turn everything in sideways and try and outrace our opponent. Alright, so our opponent just lets it all through, goes down to 28. I will continue to protect Coma over anything else. Probably crack the Polluted Delta just for the sake of not drawing into a land, or slightly helping the chance along that we don't draw into a land. So making a token to the Coma and 1 to the Beladros during every upkeep now. And the Pests might be useful because they're only 1 power, and if we manage to get rid of Bilbo's Ring at some point, then we'll be able to block the Frodo, who can have us lose the game out of nowhere if we're not careful. Like we've said multiple times, a Chromatic Quandary, they do not have the 5 mana held up to draw with that. Colours among permanents, they've only got 3 colours at the moment anyway, but that means that they'll be able to get down this legend if they want to. Maybe just get down the Tom Bombadil immediately. Bilbo's Ring drawing a card again. Okay, so I'm not sure why they're holding up mana with the Chromatic Orrery. 5, 6, 7, hoping it's not Cyclonic Rift. See what we get off the bridge anyway after our tokens. Okay, that gets us into Myojin. And then just draw into a Bayou. Yeah, I've obviously made a mistake having this in the deck as well, because yeah, this is on cast, so yeah, shouldn't have that in here. That's meant to refill the hand. Either way, we can swing in with it. So once again, we'll just turn everything in sideways, and this time Azusa jumping in the way of the Coma. So trying to buy themselves a bit of time there, it seems, which might suggest they don't have anything decent in hand. Okay, that is Samwise Stout-Hearted. He's going to bring back the Azusa, and the ring will tempt them as well. And then the ring tempting them will trigger the Smeagol. They're up to level 2 on the ring now, so yeah, it's starting to become a bit more of a dire situation, especially now that they've got any colour they want thanks to the Chromatic Orrery. I'll try my luck going after the Chromatic Orrery during their turn. They might not want to dump mana into drawing with that, maybe. So let's attempt to tap down the Chromatic Orrery. They can do it in response, but like I said, might not want to here. Or just might make a mistake and let it go, yeah. Not wanting to lose out on the 5 mana there for whatever reason. Alright, yeah, so there's the Cyclonic Rift that we thought they were holding up previously. Yeah, so we might as well sacrifice things to Coma and tap things down. And I'm just going to go after the lands, so I've tapped down the Smeagol. Not really bothered about Samwise, I don't think. So I'll just freeze the lands here by sacrificing the Coma's Coil. Noteworthy that this is our land that our opponent got from the Smeagol. This does give us the opportunity to actually cast the Myojin, but yeah, I don't think we're necessarily all that bothered about it, to be honest. So again, our opponent could have floated mana in response to the freezing there and levelled up this thing, but deciding against it. So the ring will have our opponent loot, and Bilbo's Ring has them lose a life and draw. Discarding the Azusa to the loot, going down to 11, but they do have lifelink, so we'll go back up to 13. Alright, now there's an Agent of Treachery, so we could just steal away this thing. Doesn't have hexproof while Bilbo's Ring is equipped during our turn, so yeah, I think that's fine. So steal away the Frodo. So might as well get down the Lightning Greaves into the Agent of Treachery and throw the Greater Auramancy into play again as well. Yes, send in the Agent against the 2-1. We've got our 2-3. Suppose we could have got down the Beladros there and taken 10 life to untap all the lands, but maybe that's a play for next turn. Now it's noteworthy that the equipment is still equipped to the Frodo, but we don't control this. So our opponent can pay to equip it to the Smeagol for only 1 mana, which he probably should, or to the Samwise. Looks like our opponent is activating the Orrery, and we'll draw 3 cards, so going up to 6 in hand. We know one of them is still this thing. Scroll of Isildur now, so we're just trading permanents back and forth apparently. Gain control of an artifact for as long as you control this. And yeah, incorrectly, gaining control, he already has control of Bilbo's Ring there. We've gained control of Frodo, not the Bilbo's Ring. So could have stolen away the Lightning Greaves with that. And now finally seeing that legend come into play. So Smeagol's swinging in for 4 damage, and Smeagol's the ring bearer now, so we'll loot. So we go down to 17. Marilyn will not allow us to draw. So do we just go for the Ruinous Ultimatum here? That is 7 mana. So that means if we go for the Beladros, we'll have 4 floating. We can just go for 4 floating and then untap everything. Have another 4, so that's 8 in total after the Ruinous Ultimatum. Should be fine. So let's go for the Beladros Witherbloom. So we're down to 14, untap all the lands for 10 mana from the Beladros, puts us at 4. And let's go for this Ruinous Ultimatum. So then we cast the Ruinous Ultimatum, and that will blow up all of our opponent's stuff, including the Bilbo's Ring on our side of the field that they had control of. So let's just go for the Prismatic Bridge again. And we'll leave it there, I think. Lightning Greaves over to the Beledros, start gaining some life with this Frodo. Just turn everything in sideways here. We should be able to chump any hasty stuff with the pest token that comes in. Gandalf White Rider now. Whenever you cast a spell, creatures you control get +1 and scry 1. +1 to power, that is. And then 1 ring to rule them all. The ring tempts you, and then each player mills cards equal to the ring bearer's power. So Gandalf gets a +1 to power and scry, so we will mill 4 cards. Because obviously Gandalf will be the only ring bearer they can choose from. And we just mill a bunch of stuff that we were going to fly straight through with the Prismatic Bridge anyway. Alright, and finally seen the Tom Bombadil. A bit too late for that, unfortunately. Haven't seen all that many sagas from our opponent. Looks like it is just a Lord of the Rings themed deck. That's alright, because this is a pretty clunky and casual deck as well, so the two decks have worked quite well together, I think. Some errors on my part though. The Myojin and the Sakura Tribe Elder shouldn't be in here. Alright, so make another pest token, Prismatic Bridge, see what we get. That gets us into a Consecrated Sphinx. That is a much better way of refilling our hand than this is, apparently. And then we draw into a negate to get rid of any kind of effects that our opponent could go for. It would have to be fog here, I imagine, so looks like our opponent is valiantly taking it. We'll just turn everything in sideways. Alright, and there we go. So yeah, typically the aim of this deck is to get ramp and a little bit of control in the early game so that we can keep our opponents from destroying the Prismatic Bridge, but sometimes, like we have in this play session, we just draw into all the expensive stuff early, and that's just the risk that you run with this, but it is a really fun deck. It's just a more of a clunky casual one, like I said. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up if you did. And a big thank you to the patrons for their constant support of the channel as well. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.